Greetings to one and all who is watching this video. I am Anisha from the Department of English. So the topic for today's class will be subject-verb agreement or concord. So when you take a sentence in English, you will definitely find elements such as subject, verb, complement, adverb, adjective and complement and so on. So this makes sure that in a sentence there will be definitely a subject and a verb. So the agreement or the concord between the subject and verb is called a subject-verb agreement or concord. So this makes clear that the subject and verb in a sentence must coordinate with each other and they both should agree in a sentence. That's why this is called as subject-verb agreement or concord. So there are many types in concord and let's see what are the types. So the first type is grammatical concord. So grammatical concord is the simplest form of concord, and this according to the grammatical concord rule, when there is a subject, when there is a singular subject in a sentence, the verb which is following that subject will also take singular form. And when the subject is in plural form, the verb which is following that subject will also be in plural form. When you look at the example, you will understand it better. So the examples given here are the man likes food, the men like food. The man in the first sentence is singular subject, so the verb likes which is following that subject is also taking the singular form. And the second sentence, the men like food, the men here is the plural subject and hence the verb which is following that subject is also in plural form. So this is the simplest form of concord in the subject-verb agreement type. So the next type is proximity concord. So proximity is nothing but nearness. So now let's see what is the relationship between nearness and the concord. When you take a sentence, if you find correlative coordinators such as either or neither nor, and if two subjects in a sentence are coordinated by either or neither nor, then the concord will be decided based on this. So when you look at the example, neither the vice principal nor the teachers honor the principal, neither the teachers nor the vice principal honors the principal. So when you look at the sentences, you can find that correlative coordinators neither nor is coordinating two subjects. The first two subjects in the first example is principal and teachers. So how will you determine the concord according to this rule? So when you take the subject in this sentence, so which is closest to the verb, you have to look at the subject which is closer to the verb. So here the verb is honor and the subject which is closer to this verb is teachers. So that subject is in plural form. So according to the basic rule of subject-verb agreement, if the subject is in plural form, the verb which is following that will also take plural form. And if you look at the second example, neither the teachers nor the vice principal honors the principal, and according to the basic rule, the principal here is the singular subject. So the verb which is following that subject is also taking the singular form. So according to the proximity concord rule, two subjects will be there and two subjects will be coordinated either with correlative coordinators such as either or neither nor, and the subject and the verb relationship or the agreement will be depending on the subject and the verb which is being used in the sentences. So the next concord will be notional concord. So according to the notional concord, you can apply the rule of notional concord when you find a subject in a sentence as correlative noun. If you find a subject in a sentence as a correlative noun such as committee, club, choir, audience, these are the examples of collective nouns, and if you find any of the collective nouns as the subject in a sentence, you can apply the notional concord rule. So we'll just look at the example now. The audience is quite large, the audience were clapping their hands. So the audience here is the collective noun and it is the subject. So when, according to the notional concord rule, when the collective noun being a subject, if it is performing an action, the verb which is following that subject will be in plural form, and if the collective noun is not performing any action, then the verb which is following the subject will be in singular form. So the audience is quite large. In the first example, the collective noun or the subject audience is not performing an action. A general description is just given about the collective noun. So it is taking the singular form of verb. And if you look at the second example, the audience were clapping their hands. So basically the audience, the collective noun or the subject here is performing an action. They are clapping their hands. The action done by the collective noun is clapping. So when they are performing an action, the verb which is following the subject is taking the plural form. So the next concord is concord of indefinite pronouns. So indefinite pronouns are nothing but words such as everybody, nobody, anybody, something, everything, nothing, anything, etc. So these indefinite pronouns actually take plural connotation. When you just look at the basic rule of concord, we have already seen that when the subject is singular, the verb also will be singular, and if the subject is plural, the verb will also be plural. But here these words, these indefinite pronouns have the connotation of plurality. So even if it has a plural connotation, the verb which is following those indefinite pronouns will be singular form only. So you cannot apply the basic rule here. When you look at the examples, anything is better than nothing, everybody in this class is hungry. So an indefinite pronoun is used as the subject in these examples. Hence, according to the rule, you are applying a singular verb following that subject. So the next concord is concord of quasi-coordinated subjects. So you have a term called quasi-coordinators in English, in English grammar, and these coordinators are nothing but as well as, with, together with, in conjunction with, along with, and etc. When you find a sentence with these coordinators in them, the subject verb agreement will depend according to them. So when you look at the example, the president together with his ministers has arrived, the man with his wife was killed in the earthquake. So in this example, you can see that two subjects are joined by using quasi-coordinated subjects. So according to the rule, you will be ignoring the second subject. So if you take the first example, the president together with his ministers has arrived. So you are ignoring the second subject and you are considering only the first subject, that is the president. The president here is in singular form, that's according to the rule you will be applying only singular verb. So with this I am winding up, so thank you all.